a long time to have out.
I've got to say, the year before that, he was actually one of the highest scoring. I think he might have been.
Oh, he's a great.
He's
the assist
fantasy Premier League
constant.
And
assist.
he looks like he's going forward with Rodri in defensive midfield. Looks like he's going forward a lot. And obviously, David Silva isn't getting as many game time, even though he was.
Well, David Silva two assists on the weekend.
He was man of the match. He was man of the match. King of the match, I should say.
But my thing with Man City, we look at Man City Brighton, and I feel like you could choose any Man City player, and really, I could choose De Bruyne, I could choose Sterling, I could choose David Silva. You can't have more than 3, so you've got to go and I feel like with Man City, and it's the same with Liverpool, I feel like you've got to have 3 Man City players, you've got to have 3 Liverpool players at the moment. They're the best teams in the league.
I mean, they are the best teams in the league, you're right, James. So,
and if I had 3 Man City players, and if I could afford it, I'd have Aguero, Sterling, De Bruyne.
That's very hard to achieve, though, unless you have a very weak defence.
You've got to take out Salah if you want that.
You've got to take Salah, yeah, that's a good point. You could take out Salah, or have quite a weak defence.
But that's a good question, right? Like, should you be hedging your risk by going for many different teams? Or investing, because I often see you do this tactic, Ricky.
Yes.
And I think this is how you came in the top 1,000 last year. You'd put 2 players in the same team up top, or 2 in the, I remember seeing you'd had Eriksen in midfield, and then you'd have Son, and you'd have Kane all of a sudden, and then you'd have, in the next week, you'd have bloody, I don't know.
Well, you can't, obviously you only get 1 free transfer a week, right? But you get 2 wild cards. But also what I would do usually is save, be patient. Because if you make knee-jerk reactions every single week, right, it's all right. Okay, I've obviously contradicted myself a little bit because I've just done my wild card, but I've had a plan to do that because I wanted to wait until there had been established players in this new league, because obviously there's a lot of surprises for us. There's Mason Mount. I've said his name about 1 million times on his podcast.
I love you, Mason. Mason French.
He's actually really good friends with Declan Rice, and that's one of the reasons
Declan.
why.
Love you, Declan.
But you get what I'm saying. I'm sure the listeners get what I'm saying to a point. Right?
What I'm trying to get at, though.
I haven't finished my point yet, James.
My boy really going around the houses. I don't even think he's got a point, guys. I don't think he's got a point. I'm saying, if you were Man City, what 3 players do you go with?
Yeah,
would you choose 3 players?
That is the point. So, essentially, you can save up your transfers. You don't have to use your transfer every week. So, yes, I would. If there was a good run of game weeks, I would go, okay, heavy on X, Y, and
But
Z.
would you always want 3 City players in your team?
Either that or Liverpool players, yes. Because you know they're going to score goals.
Because I got Zinchenko, and I think
Zinchenko is a very good shout, actually. 5.5 million.
He was cheap, and he's playing every game.
I don't think he's gone up in price yet.
Because he hasn't done anything, but he's played every game.
But he's created a lot of chances, actually. He's actually... But the only risk to him is Benjamin Mendy, who is on his way back from fitness.
Oh, really?
He is on his way back.
Have we got an ETA on that? Can you get down to the ground?
He's been training with the team last week, so he was in contention.
Was our man Russ in LA on the ground? Was he there?
Yeah, Russ was... Captain Russ, Tottenham Hotspur fan, I have to say. But he didn't bank on Kane, actually.
You see, my only thing, mate, with City, right, when we talk about Zinchenko, very cheap, right?
Yeah.
The last 2 games City have played, they've let goals in. The only game they didn't let goals in is when they played the mighty Hammers and beat them 5-0, mate.
Yes, yeah,
5-0.
Yeah, that is a good point.
No one wants to be beaten.
Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Play Man City. Get out of the way. And again, I'm going to move on from that so quickly.
Okay, so City recap, Brighton.
Newcastle, Watford.
No one from Brighton. No players from Brighton.
But
and Man City.
not against Man City.
The best 3 for Man City. It's got to be De Bruyne, Sterling, and Aguero, surely.
Yeah, if you've got the money.
Any rating on Bernardo
Sterling,
Silva?
I think let's just agree on this, Jimmy. And I think everyone listening as well, Sterling, you have to have him in the team. If you don't have Sterling in the team,
he's been brilliant.
Then you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out. He's going to score goals. He's almost like a striker. He's a bit like Martial this year. He's almost cutting in all the time.
I think he'll score more than Martial.
So Newcastle, Watford.
So Newcastle-Watford. I mean, the big thing here is Newcastle and Watford have both been struggling, and they went, Newcastle went to Tottenham on the weekend, and I honestly thought Tottenham were going to absolutely destroy them.
So did I.
I think
everyone did.
I'm watching the game, and they're like, oh, Steve Bruce has set the team up, and then I'm like, oh, Steve Bruce, he knows how to defend. I didn't even realise that Steve Bruce was that good at defending. He did play for Man
United, didn't he, mate?
Well, he did, mate. He did, but he was, and he wasn't that good.
He was a fantastic defender, wasn't he?
I mean,
seriously, he was a good defender. Come on, give him some respect.
As a manager, though, I don't think he's that good.
Well,
for him to take that team to Tottenham,
and
if you watch the game,
you've got to give him respect for beating Tottenham. You've got to give him respect for beating Tottenham. I don't like this whole.
We're going to have to take a break there because I had to beat up Ricky Pellegrini for that.
Okay, and we'll be back soon for part 3 in our podcast.
Newcastle Watford. Hello, we're back.
Wee-hee.
Left in the changing room. It's
left
part 3 of episode 1.
We're 3 or 4 beers in now, but don't worry, we're going to take you towards the finale of our podcast. And James, we were talking about Newcastle Watford, right? Let's have a mention for Watford.
We were talking Newcastle Watford, and I also think there's a couple of mentions in here for Newcastle players. You've got John Joe Shelby. He's going to get a lot more game time. Is he worth it or not?
I like John Joe Shelby. He's always been one of those players. Like, will he do it? If he do it, will he? A bit like a Jack Wilshere. I would compare him to. Like, not so much with the injuries, but just like kind of in and out of form.
So you wouldn't put him in your team, though?
I like John Joe Shelby.
But would you put him in your team?
Yes.
Go on then.
Because I think he's going to be
He's
involved.
not reaching for his phone, guys. Go on, put him in your team.
I think
no one's putting John Joe Shelby in their team.
I think he's going to be involved with goals in Newcastle this year. I do. I think he's got
not
that.
Enough to get you to top of your. If you're not putting him in your team, I'm not putting him in my team.
But not because of John Joe Shelby, but because of I don't. Obviously they did well against Tottenham, but I'm not going to say they're going to.
He's trying to be a nice guy. He's trying to be nice to John Joe because he knows his brother.
Can I turn this over to Watford?
I have to say. But first, what about Joe Linton? Joe Linton, he scored a goal for Newcastle.
Good player.
Worth it?
Yes.
Okay. So Watford, turn it over to Watford.
Andre Gray. I
only playing though because Troy Deeney's injured.
Yeah, but Troy Deeney's going to be injured for a while, and he was their best player. I mean, Deulofeu. Yeah, very good player. I actually had him, James. I had him at the start of the season. I took him out last minute. I backed out. I took him out last minute. Put Callum Wilson in. Right.
I think that was a good choice. Both have done nothing.
You're right, but Deulofeu is still at the heart of everything that Watford do. But again,
Watford have been really poor this season. I think a lot of listeners probably banked on Watford.
Yeah,
did you?
They were good last season. You know what? Paul Merson had said this. Sorry to quote you, Paul, if you're listening, but he had said this.
Of course, he's listening.
They're hot and cold. They're hot and cold. Like sometimes Watford. What Watford are going to turn up. That's what they'd be like last season. And unfortunately, this season, I've got to say they actually had some really good chances against West Ham. They maybe the 3-1. It might have.
Do you feel like it should have been? Well, I said it earlier. United beat Chelsea 4-0. 4-0.
Yeah, and that
very
was
lucky.
That was a flattering result, right?
It was. Do you think you guys were lucky?
No, and not just because I'm a West Ham fan, but we did deserve to win in the end, right? But in the first half, they had as many chances as we could have. They missed a sitter. They missed an absolute sitter on the goal line. But again, the point for the tip for Watford is Andre Gray. Andre Gray, he looks fantastic.
And how much is Andre?
He looks fit. He looks phenomenal. I think he's 6 to 6.5.
That's a big range, though, Ricky. Most people can't.
Let me go. Yeah, but you keep putting me on the spot, Jimmy. I haven't got the
stats.
But
you're giving me these Andre Gray stats. In my opinion, Andre Gray would be.
Okay,
I wouldn't go for him over Wesley.
He's 5.9. He's actually. He's decreased in value.
That's a very good
because
thing.
He hasn't played. But
get him in. But they're playing Newcastle next week.
They're playing Newcastle, but they are away, and Newcastle will be buoyant after that Tottenham victory.
But I think Newcastle are a different team at home because they'll try and come out. When they went to Tottenham, they literally put every player behind the ball. They didn't even put 10 men behind the ball. They put 11 men behind the ball against Tottenham. It was literally like watching a orange wall go from left to right. It was really disappointing to see them play that way.
Fair enough. Okay, I think we've said enough about
West
Newcastle.
Ham, Norwich.
West Ham, Norwich. We're at
Your
home
boys.
in the London Stadium, not Upton Park, but
Haller,
in the London
the
Stadium.
Hammer.
Haller, the Hammer.
We're all on Haller. That overhead kick.
He hasn't gone up in price yet, and I think he will. I think people will put
How
him in.
much is it?
He's 7.4 million. So he started the season at 7.5.
7.4.
Yeah, but he started at 7.5. And don't forget,
For
James.
a West Ham player.
No, but don't forget, we haven't got any other striker, really.
Yeah,
We've
but
got
how
Hernandez.
much was your strikers last year?
Well,
and now of it
Arnautovic
must have been 8.
I think he was about 7.5 and probably went up in value because obviously, again, he's our only outlet, really.
So where did Haller the Hammer come from?
So he played for FC Eicherich in the German league.
FC
Eicherich.
Say it again.
And
So no good. You're pronouncing it really well, Rick.
but moving on. No, I'm joking.
Eicherich, I think it was, listeners.
Basically, he had a lot of assists, a lot of goals, and
How many did he get?
He got 20 goals last year. He was also involved in about 15 assists as well. So he was very instrumental.
So you think he's going to be the main striker for
West Ham. If West Ham score goals,
is he going to play every game? Because
Yes.
that's the most important.
Yes, he'll play every game, and that's why I brought him in. And again, I just to all you listeners and to you, James, as well. Like, I don't actually go for West Ham players.
And to me, Jimmy, please.
Jimmy, I don't actually go for West Ham players in my team because it's like betting on your own team. I don't like betting on my own team.
What do you
it
feel?
just always feels a bit off because it's like a double whammy. If they lose, then it's like double. I'd rather just keep them out of it altogether. But I am confident that Haller will be a big hit. But again, Norwich, obviously Pukki, we talked about him earlier. Dangerous player, Cantwell.
And is he Haller the Hammer? Is he one of the favourites?
Just one I have to put in there as well, Lanzini, because a lot of FPL leaders are putting Lanzini, as we see, into their teams, and I can see why. He obviously got 2 assists now. He looks great. He looks good, and he is, I must admit, he's probably our best player this season consistently. But also Felipe Anderson just got back from injury, got an assist at the weekend as well. So it's between
Felipe Anderson's an interesting one from last season because a lot of people went for him.
They did,
and he absolutely killed people's teams in the last half of the season because you stick with him, and he did nothing. But
he still ended up with a quite high score overall.
Yeah.
For the whole season.
That's the thing. You got to get him at the right time.
Yeah, when he's on form. I mean,
yeah.
he was fantastic. He was fantastic at the weekend as well. And again,
So basically, it's the most boring game of the weekend. It's West Ham Norwich, and we're going to leave that one there. Thank you, Ricky Pellegrini.
Burnley, Liverpool. Go on.
Burnley,
Your
Liverpool.
favourite team, Liverpool.
Oh yes,
Your favourite team
Oh
play?
yeah. Oh yes. I love Liverpool. You know what I do love about Liverpool is their song. I think it's one of the best songs you could ever have.
Yeah, don't knock
You
the
will
song.
never walk alone.
Don't
You'll
knock
never
the
walk
song.
alone.
But come on, tell me about. Obviously, we touched on the whole.
I think
Salah
you've got to have 3 Liverpool players in your team. If you don't have 3 in your team, you ain't gonna be top of your league.
What 3 do you have, mate?
But you've got to have 3 Liverpool and you've got to have 3 Man City.
What
And
3 Liverpool?
for me, the 3 Liverpool, you have Mo Salah, without a doubt. I mean, a lot of people will say,
by 41.7% of managers out there.
well, that's a big thing. If 41% of people have Salah and you don't, and he does well, you're screwed. Like, you really are. Like, I mean, if you don't have him for 1 week, it's fine. But over the course of 10 weeks, and he does really well, you're behind 40% of people.
Yeah.
So for me, you have to have Salah.
Okay.
People often try and go, oh, shall I not get Salah and I'll go for the cheap option and I'll go for Mane or for a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
What about Salah and Mane? I don't see a lot of teams doing that, actually. Salah and Mane.
Because they never perform at the same rate. Because if Salah doesn't do it, Mane will do it. You never see Liverpool getting, in my opinion, 5 goals where Salah will get 3 and Mane will get 2. It's either Mane's the star or Salah's the star. And the reason that happens with Liverpool is because they play 3 up top. So you've always got one guy that is passing the ball on to the other. So you can never predict who's going to do it. So for me, for Liverpool, you've got to go with the guy that's going to score the most.
Yeah.
It's either Salah or Mane.
Okay.
So you go for one or the other. But if you want 3 Liverpool players, 1 up top, 2 defence. Their defence is phenomenal. You've got to go to defence. until Adrian came in. I mean, Adrian,
He's kind of killed that a little bit, hasn't he? Because I must admit,
I mean, when they had 2-0 up against Southampton, and he passed it to Danny Ings, that was just ridiculous. But they will keep clean sheets. So
a lot of you FPL managers out there, I'm sure you have gone with the same that I did at the start of the season. Basically had 2 Liverpool defenders as well, and was hoping for those double clean sheets.
But Ricky, you still got 2 Liverpool defenders.
But have I? Yes, I have actually.
But in all fairness, though, like that's a good question there. Like, you've got 2 Liverpool defenders because you think they'll keep clean sheet.
Yes, because I personally think that will happen.
But also, it's Robertson and it's Trent Alexander, right?
Yeah, that's
if they don't keep a cleanie, they might get an assist.
They might get an assist, exactly.
There's points